Hey YouTube loves, it's your girl Kim Jagwe, and I'm so excited to be at this point to bring you this very first video in a series from God's Perfect Size. If you're interested in how to get started on your weight loss journey or how to fight your way out of addiction, stay tuned. I'm so glad you're still with me. I have been thrilled and actually had some sleepless nights about this upcoming video, not because I was nervous, but because I'm so excited. This is something that's near and dear to my heart. It's how I got started, and it was a great help for me, and I want to share that with you. As you know, I wrote the book God's Perfect Size, but for all of my friends out there who are not able to purchase the book, or who for whatever reason are not ready to make that commitment yet, that's okay, because I'm going to bring it to you and it's all free. So the very first thing I want to tell you about in this particular video is how to get started. For me, it was difficult. I had done a bunch of diets, including the cabbage soup diet and a billion others, and even taken some dieting aids, and they always worked for a short amount of time, but then they just left me, after a period, they just left me heavier than I was when I started, so I'd take off the weight and I'd gain it back. Y'all know the drill, especially if you've done it and you've been there. You have the book. So for me, I knew it was going to take something more, and it was at a place in my life where I was desperate to be free. And in that place of desperation, and even to the point of not wanting to live and not wanting to show my children this monster that I had become in food addiction and not wanting to pass this on, I cried out to God, and He was a very present help for me. Now, that sounds very strange, and how does one cry out to God? Well, I'll tell you exactly what I did. There was a lot of crying, there was a lot of snot, there was a lot of mascara running down my face, and that wasn't just on one occasion. And it's not a literal crying. What happened is I got fed up. I got fed up with trying to fix it in my own strength, trying to muster up willpower again and again to start something new, knowing that ultimately I was most likely going to fail after a period of time because I couldn't sustain it. So what I did is when I cried out to God in prayer, I asked Him to show me a better way. And I had the revelation that for the very first time, I knew I couldn't do it. And when I say I couldn't do it, I mean I could not do it. I told God in prayer, I can't do this on my own. I have no strength of my own. I have no willpower that can sustain me long term through the years to make this thing stick. I have nothing to offer. And then in return, I knew in my heart that I needed a Savior. I needed Jesus Christ to be the strength that I could not be for myself. And so I asked Him to take hold of me and to be the strength that I needed. Now, it wasn't magical. It didn't happen overnight. And it actually took a couple of months. But I started praying to God. I started praying to Him to breathe a strength in me that I didn't have, to be the willpower that I needed, to be the peace and the direction and the good decision making that I obviously didn't have on my own. I knew the right choices, I just couldn't carry them out long term. And over the course of those weeks and those months, I've started feeling an inner strength in me and an inner peace. Now, that's the first thing I did, was cry out to God in prayer and admit that I was helpless in controlling it on my own, and admit that I needed a Savior, and I received it. The second thing I did was, after praying, I knew that I had to get quiet. I had a lot of noise going on. I have children. I watched a lot of TV because I was a stay-at-home mom and I was coping. And I knew that I was in the battle of a lifetime. So I quieted. In order to quiet my soul, I had to quiet my surroundings. I stopped watching so much TV. I actually cut out TV for about 2 weeks. And then I didn't listen to much of the radio, and I took time to pray. Now, as a mom, I don't always have that luxury of having alone time, so I did have to wait until my children went to bed. And then I would go into prayer, and I would spend time talking to God. And then when I was done talking, I actually would just sit there and listen. Did I hear a voice? No. Did something magical happen? The air turned blue and everything got all hazy? No. I just kept listening though. And I didn't even realize in those acts of listening that He was actually speaking to my heart, because it would be maybe a day or two later that thoughts would pop into my head, and I wondered, these are not my thoughts, these are not my normal thoughts, I wonder where they're coming from. And I realized those quiet times gave me enough peace and tranquility that I could start to hear. And the hearing that I'm talking about is above your flesh, and that's where you need to be, because most of us in food addiction are operating out of our flesh, and we need to hear a message from God. So we've got to quiet that flesh and strengthen that inner voice so that we can hear. It's got to be quiet enough. Well, that's all I'm going to share today. I hope those two things help you get started. Just to reiterate, you do need to cry out and ask for a Savior. That's number one. That's primary. And you'll be on your way to success. Number two, you need to find some quiet time where you can pray and strengthen your inner voice and strengthen the voice of God. His voice is always speaking, but the clutter and the loudness of the world around us can drown it out. So get still and get quiet and listen for that. And then start to think about what victory will look like. You've got to have a vision for where you're headed. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for supporting me in this video. I look forward to bringing you the next episode sometime next week. Bye.